Here's Magisters Terrace in beta. I'll show you the mobs, the bosses, what they do, and how you can beat them in a pug. In this first pack, there are 2 bolters, 2 melee, and a big guy. The melee enforcers don't do much. The Magisters spam arcane bolt, so make sure to kick those. They will also sometimes cast polymorph. The sentries are the ones to watch out for here. They'll cast ethereal shackles on the tank, giving you a root and dot. Abilities that free you from roots and magic dispels will work here. It will also target someone with Arcane Beam, a channel dot that does big damage and spills arcane residue on the ground, so just dodge those. His big ability is Crowd Dispersal, a large AoE and knockback, so make sure the party is topped up before it casts. In the next room, you'll find the Light Ward Healers. Now don't let their names fool you, the only healing they do is absorbs through their shields, but their Holy Fire dot packs a punch, so make sure to dispel it quickly. The other mob is the Animated Codex that does light AoE damage. When you enter the library, don't miss the 10% haste buff this book gives you. Just be sure to dodge the patrolling guards when you jump down. You'll find more Codex mobs here and the Blazing Pyromancer. She casts Ignition on herself, creating an aura that does large AoE damage to the group, as well as Flame Strike, which is easily avoidable. Her other spell is Pyroblast, a slow casting bolt that should be kicked. On the outside, the familiars will blink to a random player and hit the party with an AoE. While these worms explode on death, giving everyone a stacking damage and healing buff for 30 seconds, so just be careful not to kill them all at once. For this boss, I like starting by the back wall here so that my positioning isn't messed up by his slam ability. It's a big hit that knocks you back. He'll then cast Arcane Explosion, an AoE that also knocks everyone back and leaves a large arcane pool underneath him. Just kite him away from the pool after every cast. After every explosion, he'll also cast roots on 2 players. These should be dispelled or freed, as they leave a pretty big dot. When his energy levels drop down to 0, he'll start casting Refueling Protocol. During this phase, he'll summon arcane orbs to him, and it's the job of the party to soak them and to stop them touching the boss. Otherwise, the party gets hit with massive AoE. However, when you soak a ball, it forms a pool underneath and you get a stacking dot for 3 seconds. If you soak too many, the dot will overwhelm your healer. Then everything repeats until you beat him. Immediately to the left of this courtyard, there's an orb you can click for free 30-second buff. If the route requires it, you can include this pack for your count. By the door, you'll meet the Runed Spellbreaker, and these guys really hurt. They'll target someone with Runic Glaive, a large hit that bounces to another player and leaves a huge dot on both. However, if you get targeted and use an immunity or drop aggro like Greater Invis, you can completely negate this ability and the preceding dot, so use those if you have it. Their other ability is just a directional slam that you need to dodge. Before pulling the boss, make sure your entire group is past these steps, or else he will lock you out pretty quickly. Seranel will target 2 players with Runic Mark. It works the exact same way as the Spellbreaker Glaive ability, bouncing to another player and leaving a big dot. You'll know who's targeted by the big red arrow above their heads. Greater Invis works here too. He will then cast Suppression Zone, creating an anti-magic zone around him. Players with Runic Marks should move into the zone to dispel the dot. However, the dot explodes, dealing large AoE damage the moment it's dispelled, and leaves a 3-second dot on all players, so stagger those dispels to not overwhelm your healer. Every time you dispel a mark, circles will appear that need to be dodged. At 100 energy, the boss will cast Wave of Silence. Players need to move into the suppression zone to escape this AoE. But be aware that it takes about half a second for you to receive the immunity when you enter the zone, so don't leave it till the last moment to move in, because you will still be hit. After beating him, go up to the altar to start the RP. The Voidlings here do nothing. The Voidwalkers cast Shadow Bolt that should be kicked, and the Shredders will randomly target a player with a Shadow Step attack. When you get outside, just make sure to dodge these random Void Blasts. So the Shadow Rift Voidcaller's main ability is Call of the Void, summoning 6 of these unstable Voidlings to aid him. Because it spawns so many of them, tanks need to aggro them quickly or else their melee hits on other players can stack up quite fast. As they die, they explode, dealing some AoE damage. And his last ability is Consuming Shadows. It does large AoE damage for around 6 seconds and heals itself for the damage done. And unless your group is fairly coordinated on kicks, don't pull too many of the Void Terrors, as they cast Fear. The Tyrant uses Devouring Strike, a big hit that lands a huge heal absorb. It also casts Void Bomb on a player, giving them and anyone caught in the radius a 15% damage increase and a large heal absorb debuff. Gemellus starts by replicating himself and later on 50% health. Because they share a health pool, you should try to kite the boss with one of these replicated ones so that your group can get cleave damage in. They also mimic the spells cast by the main one. He'll cast Cosmic Sting on random players. It's a large hit that leaves a dot and creates pools on the ground. You'll need to dodge those as you kite the boss around. They will then cast Neural Link, creating an absorb shield on themselves while targeting players with a debuff. The players must run into whichever boss is linked with them, shown by the huge red beam highlighting it. The other ability they have is Astral Grasp, targeting players with a dot and pulling them towards itself. The players should fight this grip and dodge the circles on the ground. Now in this final section, you'll meet the same types of mobs on the way to the last boss. The one thing you need to watch out for are the fears. The spaces are narrow and one fear at the wrong time can pull in the other packs. So the name of the game here is Volleyball. A player needs to stay in each of these 4 quadrants and soak the bounces from this large orb, otherwise it's a wipe. Obviously the Degentrius does not make that easy on you. First, don't touch these lines. He will cast Hulking Fragment, a big tank buster with an AoE. After the hit, it leaves a dot for 30 seconds. It should be dispelled, but it will leave a large pool on the ground when it does. The tank needs to make sure to pre-position where they want the pools to land, and it's generally easier to put them along the outer edge. The boss also places a debuff on players during the encounter that will spawn orbs launching in all directions after its countdown. The debuff is a dot, and the flying orbs will damage and slow whoever it hits. Then it's just a game of luck. If you don't get any bad overlaps, this fight becomes trivial. I hope you found this informative. Keep playing, keep watching, and I'll see you next time.